Catherine, and this is our home here. Um, Back in November, without any notice, our neighbors who own about 60 acres of forest that border not only our property but many neighbors in this area started clear cutting without, as I said, without any notice. One Friday night we found out that it was going to be happening at 8 a.m. the next day on Saturday morning. We only found out because there was a logger driving around trying to find access to the forest and interacted with one of our neighbors, who then found out that this is what was going to be taking place in the morning. We tried contacting the owners of the land to see if there was any way that we could negotiate some way to at least leave a large amount of forest standing as a buffer for those of us that live right along the property line. A lot of the neighbors were willing to consider something to save some of the forest and to save our own properties from being damaged, and from for obvious reasons, for the value of the property, but mostly just the value of nature itself and the trees. But the owners wanted nothing to do. They didn't think that they needed to talk to anybody about it, which is their right. They said that this is their decision, this is their choice, and that's what they're going to do. So now we're left with this facade of a forest. They did leave a buffer, which is a facade. Small and large trees alike are dropping, and we never know if they're going to take out trees that are left that are on our property along with them, which they already have. We've had up to 17 trees fall from their property, taking out our trees onto just nearly missing our home. And during a windstorm, a branch blew off, this branch blew off, and the large end of the branch is impaled into the ground just by our shed, and it's about a foot into the ground. So it just shows you the impact here. The wind blowing through the clear cut and blowing branches off. So now we're faced with the fact that we will probably have to have some of our trees removed, which we never would have thought to have done, because the whole reason we chose this property was because we love trees. We love nature. We understand that people have a choice, and trees are valuable to the economy of the world. But when you're living in a neighborhood like this, it would be nice for people that own land to be thoughtful about those around and how it's going to affect their lives and their homes. So now that we are having to consider having almost all of these trees removed so that they don't fall onto our hobbit house, we have an earth-bermed house, and crack the structure underneath the earth, because it would be a lot to have to excavate and to try to figure out where a crack happened. We had a company come out to assess how much it would cost to clear it and to do it properly. and it was $75,000. And honestly, you know, this has happened in lots of other neighborhoods, but one not so far from here, they had it recently happen and it affected all the neighbors. And really the laws need to be changed. And to do that, you need to have a lawyer or an attorney, and it costs a lot of money. And so we appreciate any help that anyone can give us to not only help with what we're dealing with here, but to help see if we can get some laws changed. You know, nowadays, especially in a situation where the land is shared with a neighborhood, if landowners, private landowners that have timber, could consider doing some selective logging rather than a clear cut. I understand that the value of timber for the economy, but also the value of trees for our environment and for nature is also really valuable. And the devastation it does to, especially when there's, you know, neighbors that are living around. It's devastating for us. You know, we used to look out and there was a lush forest, and now it looks like a war zone, honestly. And that's just us who live here, but what about the creatures that were living here, you know? And I know it happens all around the world every day. Trees are coming down, but especially now when our environment is needing the gift that the trees do of cleaning the air, and all that they provide: shade, shelter, moisture. It just seems that there should be a little more thought going into what we're doing. Obviously, everybody knows that, but especially in a neighborhood situation like this, you know, is it necessary to clear cut the whole property, and to just displace the wildlife, but also displace the human neighbors that are there and just cause them the anxiety and fear that we now have to live in, and the decisions we're now faced with making of taking our own trees down, and not to mention the trees that have come down on trees and plants that we have planted, that we've been watching grow up and excited about seeing, and now they've been taken out by the trees falling off their property onto those trees we planted a few years ago. And you know, you can't replace the years of growth. It's really heartbreaking. It really is. Thank you for listening. We're asking for your help to hire an attorney to represent our concerns here. It's going to cost at least $20,000, and we would appreciate anything that you could give to help this situation. And we just appreciate you listening and hearing us. Thank you very much.